Welcome to Vishesh Educational Videos. In this video, I am explaining about the data models and schemas. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and please don't forget to like the video and please don't forget to share the video to your friends, and to get the notification of my new videos, please click the bell icon. So let me begin the explanation of data models and schemas. To understand what is a data model, first we need to understand what is a data abstraction. Data abstraction means here I am going to consider only the details that are needed and I am going to hide the details that are not needed. Very simple. Data abstraction means I am going to consider the details that are needed by me and I am not going to consider the details that are not needed. I am going to hide the details that are not needed. So data model can be used to achieve this data abstraction. Getting, guys? So data abstraction means I'm going to suppress the details that are not needed and I'm going to consider only the details that are needed. So data models can be used to achieve this data abstraction. So data model contains the information that are needed to design the database or that are needed to describe the structure of a database. Only the information that are needed can be included in the data model and the information that are not needed can be ignored. Getting, guys? So I will take the example. You will understand this in a more better way. Assume that I'm designing a banking database, right? So this banking database can be used by a customer, this banking database can be used by a designer, and this banking database can be used by a admin, right? So here I am achieving the data abstraction here. So see here, so customer, right, customer is going to see only the information that is needed by him. Designer is going to see the information only that is needed by designer. Admin is going to see the only information that is needed by him. Getting, guys? Designer will not see the information that is intended for customer. Admin is not going to see the information that is intended for designer. Designer is not going to see the information that is intended for admin. No. Getting, guys? How to achieve this? I am hiding the details of the designer from the customer. I am hiding the details of the admin from the designer. Getting, guys? I am hiding the details of the designer from the customer and the admin. So I am letting only the particular persons, specific persons, to see the information that is needed by them. Getting, guys? How I am achieving this? How I am achieving this data abstraction? By using the data models. You can see here the data model 1. This data model 1 can be used only by the customer because customer can only see this, right? So data model 1 can't be seen by designer or admin. These details are hidden actually. Only the information that is needed for customer is there in the data model 1 and all the other details are hidden. Why? See, this create account feature uh, is seen by only the customer. Customer can see this, customer can create the account by entering the details. Getting, guys? Designer and admin, they don't want these details because they are least bothered about these details. Only customer needs these details. He is the person who is using the banking database, who will use the banking database by creating the account. He is the main person who is going to use the database. That's why customer only want this information. Designer and admin, they don't want this information. So that's why data model 1 contains only the details that are needed by the customer. All the other details are hidden. In the same way, data model 2 contains the information only needed by the designer. For example, in a data model 2, you can see there this data model 2 contains the architecture information. This architecture information is only needed by the designer. That's why only the details are included in the data model 2. So that's why the data model 2 is used only by the designer. All the other details are hidden from the designer. Designer don't want to use the details that is needed by the customer. Designer only want to use the information that is in the data model 2. You can see there data model 2 contain only the architecture information. Getting, guys, how I am achieving the abstraction using this data model, right? In the same way, admin right? Admin wants to see only the storage details. He doesn't want to see any other details in the data model 1 and data model 2. I'm hiding all the other details regarding architecture, and also I'm hiding the other details regarding the customer. So data model 3 contains only the information that is needed by the admin. All the other details are hidden. In this way, I'm achieving the data abstraction. I'm allowing only the information that is needed for particular user. All the other details are hidden. So data models are used to achieve this data abstraction. So hope you are understanding, guys. Suppose if you have any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section. Next, categories of data model. So here there are three categories mainly for a data models, right? First one is a high level or conceptual data model. Second one is a low level or physical data model. Third one is a representation or implementation data model. First I will take up the high level or conceptual data model. So this high level or conceptual data model is going to give the details of the data that is in the form of entity relationship model. In the coming videos I will explain what is the entity relationship model, don't worry. So far you should understand that high level data models only contain architecture related information, that is diagrammatic information. Conceptual data models contains only the assume like that it contains only the diagrammatic related information. For example, entity, attribute and relationship. So you can see here data model 2 is an example of high level data model. It contains the information about entity, relationship and attributes. First I will explain this entity, attribute and relationship. See here, an entity is a real world object. Entity is nothing but a real world object. For example, in this banking database, real world object can be account. Account is a real world object. Customer is a real world object. Bank is a real world object. You can see there. The entity is nothing but a real world object. Attribute. Attribute represents the relationship. Attribute represents some properties of interest, right, of a entity. For example, employee is a entity or customer is a entity, right? Customer can be, right, identified by the name, customer can be identified by the phone number, customer can be identified by the age, customer can be identified by the address. So attributes helps to, right, helps to represent the entity, helps to describe the entity. Attributes describe the entity. How you can describe the customer? I can describe the customer by his name, I can describe the customer by his phone number or his address. Getting, guys? So data model, high level data model contains this entity information, attribute information and the relationship information, right? So this is high level data model. This contains the information in the diagrammatic form, especially entity relationship model. So what is a relationship? Relationship represents the relation association among the entities. For example, you can see customer is related to account. How? Customer can create a account. See, creation. Customer can create a account. What is the relationship between customer and account? Creating an account is the relationship. Hope you are understanding, guys. You can see. So relationship is nothing but association between two entities. So high level data model contain this type of information. Example, you can see here the data model 2 is an example for high level data model. Next, low level or physical data model. So low level physical data model means it is going to describe the details how the data is stored. Only the storage details will be represented by low level data model. For example, data model 3 is is going to tell about the storage details. In data model 3 you can see there how the details is stored. Getting, guys? This is the low level data model. Low level data model means the storage information will be shown in this type of data models that are low level data model. You can see that the data model 3 shows how the data is stored. How it is stored here? In the table format. Hope you are understanding, right? So the last one, the representation or implementational data model. This type of data model right? The contains the data that can be easily understood by the customer or a end user. Getting, guys? So here this representation data models hide many details of data storage. Representation data model doesn't contain any storage information, right? It contains only the information that can be easily understood by the customer. Representation directly you can implement it. For example, data model 1 is an example. So in data model 1 you can see there, if you see this, the customer can easily understand that this is the create account feature. So here create account feature is already implemented, you can see there. You can easily write the program for this and you can implement this. So this type of implementation or representational data model contain, right, only the details that can be easily understood by the user. That's why it is implementational. You can easily implement them. You can easily, user can create the account now. You can create the account. You can easily implement that, right? That's why this implementation or representational model contains the details that actually can be implemented, and the end users can easily see this. Easily they can understand this. Getting, guys? And here we are not including any storage details here. See, data model 3 details are not there in the data model 1. Right? These are nothing but representational or implementational data model. So right, guys, so hope you are understanding. Suppose if you have any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section. Next, schemas. I will explain schemas. So schema is nothing but a description of a database, right? While designing the database, I am going to define the schemas. Schemas are nothing but a description of the database. For example, consider that I am creating a university database. So what can be the description of a university database? University database can contain a student table. University database can contain the information of a course. University database can contain the information of the section. University database can contain the information of the grade report. You can see there. So schema is nothing but it is like a metadata. Schema is a metadata. It is a metadata. It contains the description of a database. That means it contains all the information related to the database. Whatever the data you are going to store in the database, the details will be there in the schema. Getting, guys? Metadata. And remember one thing, metadata, it never change. Not expected to change frequently. Metadata won't change frequently. If you want to change the metadata very frequently, you can't do that, right? Changes to the metadata is less frequent. Getting, guys? So schema is what? The description of a database. Description means it is going to tell the details, what type of data you are going to store in the database. For example, in a university database, it is going to tell you are going to store the student data, course data, grade data. Getting, guys? So that is nothing but a description, what type of data you are going to store in the database. That is schema. If you convert this description into a diagrammatic format, then I can call it as a schema diagram. If you convert this description that is in the text into a diagrammatic format, then it can be called a schema diagram. So this is the example. So see, student contain name, student number, class, major, course contain course name, course number. These details are in the form of diagrams. So this is called as schema diagram. If this information is in the text, then it is a schema. If this information is in the diagram, then it is a schema diagram. For example, student, I can convert this schema diagram into description. See, student contains a name, student number, class, major. See, that is only a text, that is only a description. But here you can see the text format is converted into diagram. Then I can call this schema as a schema diagram. If it's in a text format, it is just a schema. If it is in a diagrammatic format, it is a schema diagram. Hope you are understanding, guys. So object in the schema, student or a course, is a schema constraint. So here student, course, section, grade report can be called as schema constraints, because I can use this to construct our schema, right? That's why. Hope you are understanding, guys. A schema diagram displays only some aspects of schema. Alright, getting guys? So schema diagram displays only some aspects of schema. So course, if I say course, it is not a rule that course should contains only course name, course number, credit hours, department. I can, if I want, I can add all the other details also, right? It is possible. And one more important thing, the actual data in the database may change quite frequently, but not the schema. What is the meaning of it? So name, I can enter the student name, I can enter 20 student names. That student names can change, but the field name, the field student number, the field class, the field major won't change. Hope you are understanding. If I enter 20 student number, I can change the numbers of the students. I can change the name of the students that is present in the database, but I can't. I can change these fields also, but it's not frequent. Whatever the data that is in the database, that can be changed very frequently. I can delete the student name or I can insert the student name. But if you want to make the changes to the actual fields, the fields are nothing but name, student number, class major, that is not frequent. Hope you are understanding, guys. Next. So whatever the data in the database, for example, the data in the database at a particular moment in time is called a database state or a database snapshot. For example, here, whatever the data that is there in the data model 3, for example, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, A, B, C, X, Y, Z, W, D, whatever the data that is there in the particular moment of time in the database, that is nothing but a snapshot of the database, right? Hope you are understanding. Or it can be also called as database state. So at this point of time, what are the contents in the database? At this point of time, right? At this point of time, I have 2 records. So this is nothing but a database state. Database state. Hope you are understanding. The data in the database at a particular moment, at whatever the time you may consider. If whatever the data that is there in the database at a particular moment in time is called database state or snapshot. Example, this data model 3 example, whatever the details are there. So you can see there at this moment in a database we have this data. This data can change after 2 seconds. This data can change. Then the database state may be different. After 5 seconds again the data may change. Then the database state may be different. Hope you are understanding. Next, in a given database state, each schema constraint has its own current set of instances. Instances means what? If I say a student, 20 student names can be included. Assume like that. Then the 20 instances are there in the student database. So if you include 20 names, each name can be called as what? Instance. 20 names are there in the student database means 20 instances are there in the student database. One name can be called as one instance. Hope you are understanding, guys. Next, when we define a new database, we specify its database schema only to DBMS. When we are creating a new database, there won't be any data in the database. Obviously it is a new database. Suppose if you not include any data in the database, then it can be empty state. Empty state, when it happens, if you delete all this data in the 2 rows, then it is a empty state. Hopefully when you are creating the new database, starting initial stages, your database will be empty, right? Next, when we get the initial state of the database, when the database is first populated, that means when you insert some data to the database, right, you will get a particular database state. Hope you are understanding. Initially your database will be empty. When you insert some of the data, you can get a particular database state. And at any point of time, the database is a current state. Current state means, suppose now see here at current state, my current state in see the data model 3. At current state I have 2 rows, 2 records. This may change, current state may change. If you include one more record, then the state will how many records will be there in the database? 3 records. Then the state will change, current state will change. Hope you are understanding. Next, the DBMS is partly responsible for ensuring that every state of the database is valid state. Valid state means what? To understand this, consider a ATM example. Suppose, assume that you are right withdrawing a money from the ATM. Suddenly, if power goes off, right? Suddenly, if power goes off, the money should be properly updated. Assume that you won't get any money, but once the power came back, right, the amount is deducted. Assume that you are seeing like that. No, it should not happen. If a power goes up, it should right, it should reverse back to the valid state. Your amount should not be deducted. Your amount should be properly updated. So DBMS is responsible for that. Every state of the database should be a valid state. Hope you are understanding. So metadata, what is the metadata? Whatever the description, see whatever the description you are storing here, student description, course description, this can be called as a metadata. By seeing this you can understand that I am storing the student data, I am storing the course data, I am storing the section data, I am storing the grade report data in my database. This is metadata. Hope you are understanding, guys. Next, lastly, the schema is sometimes called as the intention, and database state is called as a extension of the schema. Schema, why it is called as a intention? Because schema always tells about the internal related data, right? See, schema tells about what are the fields, the internal details. So, but what is the database tells about? Database tells about the, see, database tells about the external details. This phone, SSN, name, address are internal details. Whatever the other details I am going to store in the fields, in the rows, that can be considered as extensions. That is 123, 232, 12, ABC, XYZ, WD. These are nothing but what? Extensions. Extensions can't be changed frequently, but these extensions can be changed frequently. The database states can be changed frequently. The fields, the schemas, the metadata can't be changed frequently. Hope you are understanding, guys. I tried to make it very simple. Suppose if you have any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section. Thank you for watching the video.